Hi guys, this is Chris with Lazy Oaks Ranch. Today I'm working with Smokey. We're going to go through our foundation series here. These are all the things that we do with every single horse when they come in. And our hope is that you'll have these videos at your disposal when you get your brand new horse and you get him in. If you keep up on these different exercises, they're going to stay as good as they were when they left us. And in that video, they're going to stay that way forever. And honestly, if you work hard at it, you'll actually improve them even more beyond what we did. So that's our goal, is for when your horse goes home, for you to be able to maintain or improve them instead of them losing some of the training that we put on them. We want you to be happy with them and then be happy with their life with you, forever, and as long as you're going to have that horse. So now we're going to talk about creating space. A lot of times you have horses that are really pushy. They want to get right on top of you all the time. A lot of times we mistake that as them being friendly, which is cool. But you want them to get out of your space. We have a horse in the training program right now, which we'll do some videos on coming up here, and he just wants to be on top of you. The first couple of days, you're like, wow, he's so friendly. Then after that, he just overstays his welcome. So we're going to talk about, we'll talk about that later, but for now, I'm going to show you how we work to create space. And all the horses, that leave our program will have done this. If you work on this, this will help a whole lot. If you get control of these different things, you have a lot more control of your horse at a distance. And that's one of the things we always want to focus on, is being able to control them up close and at a distance. So right now we're going to, I think Pat Pirelli probably does this one best. So we'll call this the yo-yo game like he does. I always encourage you to check out the trainers who came up with all these methods. And they have programs you can subscribe to and everything. But every trainer has some sort of mechanism like this, but I really like the way that he does it. So what you're going to do to a horse that already broke to it, like the ones, as they'll come when they leave us, you're going to wiggle the rope back and forth. Start with small wiggles, okay? Now, Smokey knows this really well, so I don't know if you noticed, but I gave a tiny wiggle and he moved right off of it, okay? And you're going to escalate the wiggles as much as you have to until they do it. Once I see that back end move off, when I see a step in the back end, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and let him know it was the right move. Now, he's not allowed to step forward until I ask him. So as long as he stands still, I'm going to leave him alone. And then I'm going to go back to asking again. Back. And his back end moves, so I'm going to leave him alone now. Each time, I'm going to feed out a little bit more rope. If it's too tight, the wiggles won't get to him all the way. If it's too loose, the wiggles won't get to him all the way either. Okay, so now I'm going to wiggle it. I'm going to say back. And I'm a big fan of verbal commands. You'll hear me say back, back, and I'm going to escalate it. He moved. I'm going to release. Okay? And I'm going to say back, back, release. As soon as I see that back foot move, I'm going to release and let him know he made the right decision. Back, back, release. And I want it good. He's licking and chewing right now. He's understanding what I'm requesting of him. Now I'm going to say back, back, and I'm going to escalate it until he listens, and then I'm going to release. So I want him to stay standing out there as long as I feel like him being out there. And this can ultimately lead into a ground tie down the road. There's a lot of ways to do it, but I want him to know that he is not allowed to move his feet at all or do anything else until I give him permission to do so or I request something else of him. So right now, he needs to stand still. Those horses that are really pushy and want to get on top of you, they're going to try to immediately step off and come back to you, and you're going to back them up kind of aggressively to say, hey, no, that was a bad move. You're supposed to stay out there. Okay, he licked and chewed. His head's dropped. I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to lean over like this, and I'm just going to gently reel him in. Initially, I'm going to put some pressure. You can click, put a little pressure on the lead, and then I want this to be as loose as possible, which means that he's coming into me. I'm not dragging him in to me. Okay? And then when he gets here, you can do a lot of petting or you can not do a lot of petting. Just him being here and me not doing anything with him is a release. For the friendlier horses, the ones that are used to being pet, they really appreciate if you give them a little pet when they come up here. Okay? And then we're going to ask again. We're going to go right back to it. Now, if he didn't understand, he was confused, concerned, I'm going to let him just hang out here for a while until I see a lick and a chew, a head drop, any type of sign that he's calming down, he's relaxing. I want to get that before we move on a second time, if we can. If we wait, a minute, nothing happens, then we're going to go right back to asking again, and hopefully we get on the second cycle. So I'm going to say back, and he's going to start stepping off, release. I'm really keeping an eye on those back feet. So I'm going to say back, release. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but he is stepping off with the tiniest itty bitty little wiggle on this rope. How do you think this horse is going to back up if I'm riding him in the saddle? All I'm going to have to do is just lean back a little bit, maybe move my legs, and he's going to move off without me even having to have any rein pressure. This is a really easy way to make them really broke to the stop on the ground. So I'm going to stop, and then of course the back up. Those two are very closely tied together. So I'm going to say back, back. He's not paying attention, so I have to go a little more aggressive, and then he steps back and I leave him alone. You'll be able to tell a difference. When he's paying attention to me, it's almost no pressure at all. And when he's not paying attention, I have to do a lot more to convince him to move back. If anything, I would say Smokey is a little bit ADD. He is really focused when he is, and then he just tunes out. So that's one thing that I've always been working on with him, but that's kind of his personality to an extent. So I'm going to back him up a little more, and I want that other foot, and then release. Okay? And then I'm going to back him up, back, 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 release. And once again, I'm going to let him stand out here until I see something that I like. I want him to lick and chew like that. He just licked and chewed. We can call that good. I really would love his head to drop a little bit, so I'm going to give him a little bit here to see if anything else changes. Don't see much, but let's just see if we get anything else. If we don't get anything else, I might do one more cycle. It just depends. Because he did kind of tune out on the last one a little bit, I'd really like him to pay attention the entire time. Okay, now I'm going to call him back in now. I'm not seeing any more releasing from him or any more relaxing from him. So I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to go. I'm going to add a little bit of tension to the rope, and then I'm just going to leave it alone and see if I just reel in the tension, does he come, or do I have to ask him again? I'm going to ask him again. And he doesn't want to get in trouble. He knows he got in trouble and he had to go, he had to get away from me earlier to get his release. So he's like, wait a second, do you want me to come in? So this can take a little bit. After you get them to understand to stay out there, the first couple times it can take a little bit to convince them to come back to you because they don't want to get in trouble. All right? So we're going to back Smokey out one more time because he stopped paying attention there. So I'm going to say back, back, back. Like I said, you're always going to start off as gently as you can possibly get away with, and then escalate it as much as you have to get it done, and then go right back to the lowest level possible. Okay, so see, even though I had to kind of back him up a little more aggressively when he wasn't paying attention, now I'm going to go gentle, more, 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 and then he steps back in his back end, release. Okay, make him stand there for a second, think about it. I see a lick and chew. His eyes look a lot softer than last time. He looks kind of sleepy, he's blinking. So I think we're going to be good there. So I can invite him back in again, which is what I'm going to do now, or I can then send him out on a circle, which is what we'll do in the next video. So come here, bud. I'm going to ask him to come in, and I'm going to try to get him to come all the way to me without me having to pick up tension. So I'm going to pick up a little tension. And so this is way better than last time, but I'm still having to kind of coax him to come into me. Okay, let him stand here a second. And really pay attention when your horse comes into you. Are they putting the eye, which eye are they putting on you? If you get on the right side and they're weird about it, I will intentionally spend a lot of time on this right side until they get over it. Once I know they're even, then they can come to me with their, facing with both eyes, but I really spend a lot of time on that right eye because a lot of horses are kind of weird about it. Well, guys, that is the space making game, or like I said, as Pat Pirelli calls it, the yo-yo game. Super helpful in defining what space is yours, and a really pushy horse, making sure they understand that they need to be away from you. It really helps with the stop and a backup. Horses that don't want to stand still, want to walk off from the mounting block, walk off while you're mounting from the ground. This helps with that impulsion because you're making them stand still, and if they walk off, you're going to get really aggressive and send them back again to stand out there. So thank you guys for following along. We'll see you on the next one.